Assalamu alaikum, students. Today we are going to start our third lecture of the last leaf. But before going to start, let me tell you that we missed almost one sentence in the previous lecture. That was on the east side of the city. He hurried, touching many people, but in the narrow streets of Greenwich Village, he did not move so quickly. So, if you recall the lecture number two, you will find that we were discussing about Mr. Pneumonia, and it is the description of Mr. Pneumonia, how it spread in the city. Here we can find the contrast between two locations. One location is the city, and the second location is the Greenwich Village. So if you see the difference, that it moved quickly when it was in city, but when it reached Greenwich Village, it did not move so quickly. So it is the contrast between two lifestyles or two locations in city. People are in a huge number, and they are living in congested areas, so pneumonia spread quickly. But as compared to it, in village, it did not move so quickly. It moved slowly. So we can find the contrast between two locations in a city. Uh, Basically, east side of the city that was congested, and the second is Greenwich Village that was not very congested. That's why it did not increase so fast. Now we are going to start our third lecture. One morning, the busy doctor spoke to Sue alone in the hall where Johnsy could not hear. They were talking secretly. They did not want to tell Johnsy. She has a very small chance, he said. Life to resist this disease or to survive this disease. Johnsy has to struggle. She has very small chances. She has a chance if she wants to live. So, hope is the basic element that can help her out. If people don't want to live, I can't do much for them. Your little lady has decided that she's not going to get well. So, here the doctor is feeling that Johnsy is not showing resistance. She is not hopeful. She has lost hope. Is there something that is troubling her? So he's asking certain question, right? So let's start one by one. Let's start explaining one by one. One morning, the busy doctor spoke to Sue alone in hall where Johnsy could not hear. Here, the doctor decides to speak privately, secretly with Sue, who is Johnsy's friend, and she is also taking care of Sue while she is ill or she is sick. So, and he wants to tell her certain uh, problem related to Johnsy, and they want to keep it secret. Uh, this shows that the situation is serious and that the doctor does not want to upset the patient, wants to keep information secret from the patient. It also creates tension and prepares the reader for bad news. Obviously, when you're hiding some information from the patient, it means there is something grave, there's something serious, there's something threatening. So she has a very small chance, he said. The doctor clearly states that Johnsy's condition is critical. She is not improving. Her life is in danger. She may lose her life. She may die. the phrase very small chance immediately creates a sense of danger and hopelessness. If you hear these commands in your life, obviously your response will be almost the same. She has a chance if she wants to live. So it is connected. It is vice versa. It looks like that. This is the critical line in the story. It tells us a lot about Johnsy and Johnson's chances to survive that disease, pneumonia. It introduces the idea that mental strength and willpower are essential for recovery, not just medicine. Medicine can play a role, but it is combined, it is strengthened, it is it becomes more beneficial if the patient is also showing some sort of strength, some sort of response, some sort of willpower, some sort of mental strength. If people, now he moves forward and he says, if people don't want to live, I can't do much for them. Now he is showing his helplessness. It is the combination of doctor and patient. It is the effort of doctor as well as the effort of patient. Patient has to complement his efforts, right? And doctor admits that medical science or medicine or doctors' efforts are limited. And it suggests that psychological attitude of the patient plays a major role in survival. And then he says, your little lady has decided that she's not going to get well. He's telling us about about John C's mental condition or emotional condition. He's telling Sue that John C is not physically ill. She is, but it is not only her physical illness, but she also has mental issue. What is the mental issue? That she has given up. She is not trying to come out of this disease. So, this sentence tells us, shows us, reflects us, reveals us the core conflict, that is loss of hope. When you lose hope, when you have lost hope, not not it is there should be no miracle happening for you. It is you that is going to reverse the situation with the help of your hopefulness. If you are hopeless, obviously the situation becomes worse and worse. Is there something that is troubling her? Now he's asking a question. The doctor is suspecting that there may be an emotional or personal reason behind her condition. Why does she not want to live? Everyone loves living. Everyone wants to come out of the diseases, wants to defeat the diseases. But Johnsy is doing something different. Then he says she always wanted to go to Italy and paint a picture of the Bay of Naples, said Sue. So now she is telling what Johnsy wanted to do in her life. She shares Johnsy's dream of visiting Bay of Naples. This dream symbolizes hope. It is also reflects ambition and the desire of an artist or a creator or a person who is starting her profession. That we people always have certain desires in our life that we want to achieve, that we want to accomplish. So Johnsy also has it. It also shows with Johnsy what Johnsy is losing as she gives up on life. So she will not be able to accomplish her ambition. Paint, not paint. Is there anything worth being troubled about? A man, said Sue, is a man worth? No, doctor, there is not a man. The doctor dismisses art. He does not consider that art can create such kind of situation in someone's life. He dismisses it, and he does not consider that art is a serious concern. On opposite to that, contrary to that, he assumes that there is a romantic issue. She is involved in someone. So this reflects a common social belief, our perception, our thinking. We think how we think according to our experience, we think according to our knowledge. So usually we come across this situation, then once someone does not want to live, it means there is some sort of breakup, or some sort of breakup between genders relationship. So he is assuming this. Doctor is assuming this, and he thinks that emotional distress is often linked to love. When you are in emotional distress, it means it leads you towards love, towards intimacy. A man is a man worth? No, doctor, there is not a man. Sue strongly rejects this idea, and she rejects it. She does not accept what the doctor is saying, and her response shows independence, and it suggests that Johnson's problem is deeper than a simple romantic issue. It is not simple romantic issue, rather it is deeper, it is intricate. It is not as simple as it looks, or as the doctor is feeling or assuming. It is weakness, said the doctor. I will do all I uh, know how to do. The doctor concludes that Johnson's condition is due to mental and emotional weakness, not just physical illness. But when a sick person begins to feel that he's going to die, half my work is useless. He's accepting something. He said, I will do all I know how to do. He reassures, he confirms Sue that he will try his best to save Johnsy with the help of medicine. What he can do, he will do. But he also reinforces the idea that hope and willpower are essential for recovery. Only medicines cannot solve this problem. Without them, even the best treatment may fail. If you don't have a willpower, if you don't have hope, if you don't have inner strength, medicines cannot help you out. The best doctor cannot help you out. All right. Talk to her about new winter clothes. Gives her some hope. If you were interested in the future, her chances would be better. So here we will stop. So he suggests Sue that she should talk to her on the future, on the normal life, and turn the focus from the disease to something practical. That this is a practical way to restore hope and interest in living. If she were interested in the future, her chances would be better. This line summarizes the central idea. The central idea is, if you want to survive, you have chances if you have belief in the future. So we can say that survival depends not only on the body, but also on the belief in the future. If you do not have belief, you cannot survive. And obviously your future, your thoughts, your hopes, they strengthen you. They give you a hope. They give you a chance to fight, to resist. Now we come to different literary techniques that the writer has used. And remember, in literary techniques, we can also cover writing style of Henry. But as Samir pointed out, that we were not discussing or we have not discussed style separately. So this time I have also included style, or I will discuss style separately. So first you see here, O. Henry is using a narrative device, and that narrative device is a dialogue. Dialogue is used to narrate the story. So the passage, if you see this part of the story, is primarily driven by dialogue. There is a conversation between going on. Here, the writer is not narrating something, rather, our characters are involved in a serious discussion, in a dialogue. And it makes it more realistic and emotionally direct. Instead of describing Jones's condition in narration, our writer, O. Henry, is revealing it through the doctor's conversation with Sue. He's using dialogue that is more emphatic, that creates more impact. This allows us, we reader, to experience the tension naturally, and we can understand the seriousness of the situation without exaggeration. There is no exaggeration at all. It is totally realistic. Then if we see, we also find in this dialogue, the dialogue between the doctor and Sue discussing Jonesy's mental or emotional condition, we find one more theme, and that most important theme of the story, that is hope and despair. Hope versus despair. A central technique here in the development of the theme of hope versus despair is used here. What is it? That the doctor's statement that recovery depends on the will to live highlights the importance of hope. Hope is very important if you want to recover from any kind of disease. So Johnson's lack of desire to live represents despair. She is in despair. She is in hopelessness. Why is it so? Doctor wants to know it, and it becomes more dangerous than the illness itself. If you lose hope, it is more dangerous. The damage, the damage you can cause to yourself is more if you lose hope. It is not the disease that destroys you. It is the hopelessness that desires you. It is the despair that destroys you. So this thematic control drives the emotional core of the story. We feel emotionally weak here. That why is she not, why she's not getting hope, why she is in despair. We desperately want to know that. Then we also find symbolism here. Jones's dream of painting the Bay of Naples symbolizes her aspirations, her ambition, her dream of creativity, her connection to life. Because when you want to portray, or when you want to paint certain thing that is lively, obviously you are also alive. Her loss of interest in this dream represents that she has lost hope. She is losing hope. That is the main central theme. Similarly, the idea of winter clothes also symbolizing the future and the continuity of life. And it suggests that thinking ahead thinking in future can restore the will to live. Then we also find realism here. We find a realistic situation, the situation that is not exaggerated, that is the situation that we come across in our daily routine, in our life. The doctor's character in his statement add realism to the story. He is speaking practically about medical limitations, the limitations of medicine. It is not the case that you will just take medicine and but you are losing hope and you can survive. No, it is not possible. You are taking medicine, fine, but you have to show resistance too, emotionally as well as physically. And psychologically, these psychological factors help you out, help you to come out of the disease, to resist the disease, to survive. And that makes the situation believable. It is not the thing that we cannot rely on it, it is the reality. So, doctors' focus on mental attitude shows us real life, and we can understand about illness and recovery. Illness and its recovery depends about how strong, how mentally, emotionally strong you are. Then if you see the tone and mood of this part of the story, we see that here it is very serious. Before that, before we talked about, we have discussed two parts, two passages, two paragraphs, not paragraphs, but two passages. That will be the best choice to use the word. So that there we found a certain humor too, but here this whole passage is very serious and it shows concern. The mood becomes tense and emotional as the reader, as we realize that Johnson's life is in danger. She may lose her life. However, there is also a slight sense of hope in the doctor's advice because he says that she can prevent from the disease if she does not lose hope. So we also get a ray of hope here, and that prevents us from becoming completely hopelessness, becoming completely hopeless, because we see that if she loses, if our main character is losing her life, so we also get hopeless. We also become hopeless. But when what doctor is saying, he is also keeping our hopes alive. Now we will focus on the style. I'll discuss on the style too. If you see, uh, O. Henry is using a conversational and dialogue based style. He's using a dialogue. He's not narrating a story, but he is showing the narrative with the help of dialogue. And that makes the situation realistic and immediate. So that's why we can see, we can feel that O. Henry's stories are more realistic. If you see here, doctor gives a direct statement that she has a very small chance. That statement reflects a clinical and straightforward tone. Doctor is telling him the truth. He's calling a spade a spade. He's not beating about the bushes. So that shows professional honesty. Doctor should be honest. So, what we expect from a professional doctor. At the same time, the style carries emotional depth through Sue's responses, such as she always wanted to go to Italy and paint a picture of the Bay of Naples, which introduces warmth and personal feeling. They are personally connected. When you know something very, when you know about someone's secrets, it or ambitions, it means you are well connected to that person. And here we see that the language is very simple, but it is very clear. It is not very intricate. It is not complex. And we can see if people don't want to live, I can't do much for them. Idea is very complex, but it is expressed with the help of very simple and clear words. The words are very common. They are not difficult to understand, but the idea is intricate. Idea is complex. So this style of O. Henry is also psychologically focused. His style emphasizes mental attitude rather than physical illness. His focus is on this idea that your mental attitude can help you defeat anything in your life. It's not only disease, you can defeat anything, you can accomplish anything in your life if you are mentally strong. And you can take example here too. The doctor says your little lady has decided that she is not going to get well. So that sentence highlights Jones's state of mind. She has lost hope. She is not fighting. Moreover, if we see, there is a didactic tone. He is teaching us. He is giving us lesson. He's trying to make us understand. And if you see this advice, talk to her about new white clothes. This doctor is giving her advice. That advice suggests practical ways to restore hope. And overall, if you see O. Henry's style in this passage specifically, particularly, that is very realistic. It is very direct and it is psychologically centered. How? Because he has used a simple dialogue and meaningful statements to convey the importance of hope and will to live. If you want to analyze it critically, you can discuss it in a way that specifically this passage is highlighting the powerful connection between mind and body. Mind and body are connected. They are not disoriented. They cannot work solely. They cannot work in isolation. It emphasizes that psychological strength is crucial for survival. When the doctor says she has a chance if he wants to live, it clearly shows that recovery depends not only on medical treatment, but also on the patient's willpower. You have to fight. You have to complement the medicine with your emotional and psychological strength. Similarly, when he says, if people don't want to live, I can't do much for them, it also reinforces the idea that despair, hopelessness can make even the best medical efforts ineffective, useless. If you see from a psychological perspective, this passage reflects how Johnson's condition is becoming worse by her own mental state, by her own emotions, that she has lost hope. The doctor observes that your little lady has decided that she is not going to get well, shows us, indicates us, reveals us that she has already surrendered to death internally. She does not want to live, and that makes her illness more dangerous. So, in this way, the writer is reflecting the theme that loss of hope can be more harmful than physical disease. So, if we see, we can observe that this passage is also presenting a contrast between hope and despair through Sue's response. While Johnsy has given up, Sue tries to keep her connected to life by referring to her dream. What is her dream? She always wanted to go to Italy and paint a picture of the Bay of Naples. That is a dream. So this dream is symbolizing ambition, your goals, your purpose. When you don't have purpose, obviously you will die. If you have a purpose, you have ambition, you can survive, you can live, you can fight. You will never lose fight. You will never fighting. You will never give up fighting. So it shows that having goals gives life meaning. When you have meaning, you can survive. When you don't have meaning, you cannot survive. If you move further, you can see the doctor's practical advice, talk to her about new winter clothes, also suggests that focusing on the future can restore hope. Keep future in your mind and portray future in positive way if you want to survive. This reflects a deeper idea that interest in life and future plans is essential for survival. If you don't have plans, future plans, obviously you are not going to survive. And then see, doctor is giving us very practical advice that you have to talk about future. All right. So we also do the same. If you don't have future, we cannot move further. So we can say that through realistic dialogue and simple yet powerful statements, O. Henry is presenting a profound, a deep, a real message that human life depends not only on physical health, but also on emotional strength, hope, and desire to live. So it is, you can see that medicine and hope, they will move together. So we can conclude that this passage is very crucial in developing or establishing the central conflict or central theme of the story. And it shows that Johnson's real struggle is not just illness, but loss of will to live. Through dialogue, through symbolism, through realism, O. Henry is emphasizing that hope is essential for survival. If you lose hope, you are not going to survive. And he sets the stage for the story's emotional climax. And you can expect uh, an abrupt ending, and that will uh, emotionally create an impact on you. So keep listening to it. If you have any questions, you can ask me, you can inbox me, and don't shy in asking questions. You can even write in comments if you have any problem. So thank you for watching till now.